That's it. No one let Veronica pack heels for the next season of All Stars. Plus, a phone call home that really should have been edited out, a fun throwback daily challenge. Devon catches Frank in the act. Finally, Shane plays ankle doctor. Turbo gives a pep talk. Nany is super activated. And Melissa and Nicole lock in and maybe lock lips. It's the challenge. All Stars Rivals, episode 9 recap coming up right now. What up, my fellow challenge lover? Welcome to The Challenge Historian, where we dive deep into all things MTV's The Challenge, past, present, or future. What's happening in the Challenge universe, we are here to document it. I am your host and dedicated Challenge historian, Jacob Hollaball. Thank you so very, very much for being here with me this week for the 9th episode of All Stars Rivals coverage. We've got another good one. This season has just been fantastic all the way through, though I am a little nervous with how few cast members are left for what looks like maybe 3 more episodes. That will be discussed at the very end of this podcast, because first we have to talk about the entire episode, which was really good, very entertaining, lots of good things to get to. Only programming reminders before we begin are that the next 2 or 3 weeks, however many episodes we have left of this fine season of All Stars Rivals, the recaps are likely going to be coming out Thursday late morning instead of late on Wednesday night. I have picked up a second part-time job on the side that probably has me working on Wednesday nights, or at least late enough on Wednesday that I'm going to be watching these episodes a little bit after the fact and unlikely to record late into the night on Wednesday night. So instead, get up and do them first thing on Thursdays. One way or the other, they will be there by late morning on Thursday. We will see. Maybe they still will be late Wednesday night, but appreciate your patience in getting out these last couple episodes, but we will be there. We will be covering it. This season deserves our utmost attention. And then the top 10 players by eras, those videos are coming when I have the time to do it right. Again, a lot of moving parts over here at HQ, a lot of new things coming into play, and a lot of my time being taken up by a lot of different things. And I am not going to do those videos in those episodes until they are done right and done in the way they are deserved to be. So that's your programming notes. Without further ado, episode 9, All Stars Rivals, All Stars 5. Let's go ahead and dive right on in. Opening house segment, a couple quick things to hit before we go straight off to the daily. The biggest one is something that I would prefer not to be talking about. We have said it at least once, if not twice, this season before, but this was the most egregious example. This show edits things out in the moment, the week of the episodes. I know it is an incredibly difficult task to do the editing of these shows, to put these storylines and the episodes and everything together. It's an incredible feat. I so appreciate everyone that works on this show and produces it, but we do know that in the past, they have literally edited things and changed things the week of, depending on some things that have happened out into the real world with cast members. And it feels like, I've said it before, but I'm saying it again because this one bothered me the most. Nany is a staple of this franchise. She has given so much to us as fans. She has given so much to this show and the network and everything else. And her and Casey sadly did have to call off their engagement and are no longer together. And that has to be devastating and extremely difficult for them. And so to air this season, how easy would it be? There's plenty to focus on with Nany the rest of this episode as we get and see. There's plenty to go with her budding friendship with Devon, or just her and Turbo's dynamic, or anything else. We don't need to see the call home where her and the person we now know she is no longer with at the time of airing, talking about having a baby together and all this life together and everything. It just feels like something that us, all the fans, know what's up. We're in the know. We follow these people. We know the show filmed a long time ago and things are different now. And we just didn't need to see that. And she doesn't have to, if want to watch this back or have people that maybe don't follow her close enough to know this, like sending messages about how cute that segment was or something. It's crazy. So I don't think we needed that. I think they could have very easily just gone ahead and removed this and a couple of the scenes from earlier in the season and been just fine. Then two people that are not together to my knowledge and never were to my knowledge, but do maybe possibly share the quickest little of kisses in this episode is Nicole and Mel, who are, I'm going to have to walk back my statement on their team's chances and ability to work together throughout this podcast episode, because throughout this episode of television, we learned that they are, in fact, not only just working a little bit better together, but they've become downright good friends and pals and maybe even a little flirtatious, to the point that Veronica has to come out and just give a little friendly reminder of like, hey, maybe you get out of the pool. Maybe you and your partner are getting a little going from friend to flirty, and maybe we just stop that. And so, there was that, maybe that little peck over there, but all in good fun, it seems. But they're at least, at minimum, very good friends at this point, and willing to work together and happy to work together, and excited to be working together. And then finally, we have the beginning of the episode long storyline that is Devon and Shane. Finally, they're having to be put to the test, having to make a decision and pick one side or the other, and really stay where they stand within the game, and kind of who they're willing to put, whose interests they're willing to put not above their own, but at least up kind of near or equal to their own, or at least compared to their different allies and friends in the house. And so we got plenty to cover with that, but I liked the opening moment. I liked Shane and Veronica's conversation, and then Shane going to Devon and her being like, oh, so you want me to lie? You want me to lie? You want me to go lie to her? I don't feel like doing that. We're not going to do that. I don't need to. Veronica will read right through that. Everyone knows it's fake. It's fine. We're all adults here. We'll keep it moving. And so yeah, we'll be talking about that pairing and that those alliances a lot. So we will keep this podcast moving as well. Then we go to the daily challenge, and this might have been my favorite daily of the season. This might have been one of my favorite daily challenges of any All-Stars season. This felt like the perfect All-Stars daily challenge, meaning the original idea of All-Stars of let's not only just with the cast, but with the game to some degree. At least I kind of always thought that was going to be a part of the All-Stars mixture of not just old cast members, but also old elements of the oldest version of the game being brought back in. So in that kind of way, this felt like the perfect All-Stars daily, in that it was a complete throwback to the simple, silly times of the first 10 to 12 to 15 or so seasons, where plenty of the daily challenges were something as silly and simple as you guys sit on these tubes and push each other, and whoever gets closer to the points. That's our game today. That's what we've come up with, except it's that silly, simple throwback challenge with the budget of the show now to make it look nice. Make it look, have a really well done, ironed out version. How would this look cool? How would this be fun? Oh, we put the row of foam that they have to slide through so they can't totally see super well, and it just kind of looks fun on camera. And it's a big, huge board. It looks beautiful, the whole thing. So it's that old throwback, silly, simple challenge, but with a budget to make it look nice. It felt like the perfect All-Stars daily, or what I'd want to see out of an All-Stars season if we wanted to get back to making these seasons feel very separate in their own sort of thing, their own sort of vibe, compared to the flagship that maybe leans back now a little into the more sporty side, the physical side, and all of that. Now, as for the performances, Nany and Turbo, I feel bad for. Someone was going to learn the lesson in round one, which turned out to be, as we hear Steve and Adam, I think, tell each other after the first round, of you don't really got to push the people. You got to push them just enough to get on the ramp. The ramp is strong enough to get our people out to the 25 point, the center zone, if you will. And Turbo definitely just came in a little more excited, thinking he was going to have to actually do something more than just nudge Nany. And so I feel bad that they were the first one, the ones that kind of needed to win this the most. And they were the ones that fell first to just the learning curve of how do we actually do this. Shane and Devon absolutely crush it. Love that they're arguing in the middle. I mean, that just completely just so Shane and so perfect that just it seemed like there was truly no reason for him to be like, just before we go on this round, can I make a scene? Can we just get in an argument? Can we make a scene just for fun? Just it'll be good. It'll be great for the folks watching at home. And it was a good time. And then they crush, they nail it time after time after time, win the star, win the whole thing to get their star safe. And then the best part of the whole daily challenge is after the daily challenge, when Devon finally, as she says, catches Frank in the moment. And everything about this beginning to end of that portion of the daily challenge was fantastic television. From Frank just immediately like, let's game's on. I'm going to make sure, I know exactly what should happen right now, even if everyone else is probably going to be on the same page. I'm just going to go ahead and instantly go make sure everyone knows. It goes and tells Adam, and Devon sees, walks over, interjects. And I think all four of the key players, will throw Shane into, who comes into it at least with the joint confessional a little later. But the three key characters there of Frank, Adam, and Devon, I honestly don't begrudge any of the three of them. I think they all handle this situation exactly the best way they possibly can. I think Frank, knowing he gets a little caught there, not that what he's saying is, he doesn't want to tell Devon what he's saying, but it's not like it's some bad thing. It's not like, hey, we're throwing Devon in, or they can't do that. Nothing, but it still means like, hey, come on, I'm talking to him. I don't need to tell you what we're talking about. And so, does the deflection, all of that, totally good. I think Adam is totally right and smart to wait it out a second, let Devon and Frank do their little back and forth. So it's not like you're totally like being like, Frank, none of what you just told me matters. I would prefer, I'm picking Devon in this little argument back and forth. And instead is okay, if you guys are going to argue, then like, hey, Frank, it's fine. We can tell her everyone's going to be talking about the exact same thing and everyone knows what's up. This is what's up. And Devon for being like, yeah, I caught you. You sneaky guy. You've been sneaking around all season. I've been trying to call it out. And finally, I caught you actually doing the sneaking. And I don't care if it wasn't even that sneaky. I want to let you know that I caught you being sneaky. So I love all three people in this. I love that Devon and Shane joint confessional after the fact of her having that realization, like, I did catch him. I caught him in the moment. I actually got to call him out in the moment. And just everything about that was fantastic. So top to bottom, the daily and everything that ensued afterwards, really, really good stuff. Then we're back at the house, and we attempted to go to the club, and we ultimately had a vote. So let's talk about all of that. We don't get to go to the club or bar, or whatever it is, this season because Veronica, for the second time in her All-Stars career, takes a spill and hurts, I guess this time ankle, not foot, but, lower leg injury, foot, ankle injury from wearing the heels in the rain, having a little slip. It was devastating and cost her season before. It does not ultimately cost her or her partner her season here. It does cost us, the scene at the club, but honestly, the scene that we get is much better than whatever we would have got at the club, because Shane's over the top, taking control of the situation, causing friction with Frank somehow somehow Veronica twisting her ankle causes more friction between Shane and Frank is just the exact reason why this trio has been so good all season and why this has been so fun to watch the little back and forth and the different dynamics at play with those three. And I just love Frank's exasperation over the whole thing of like, this is not, guys, we should put it up on the pillow and put some ice on it. That's the only thing to do for a lightly twisted ankle. everything's fine. What are we doing? 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off with the compression socks in the ice in the Theragun. Like, let's all calm down here. Okay. Katie's not even that worried about this. We don't need to be going to these lengths. It's fantastic. Unbelievable. But Veronica, if and when you are likely on a future All-Stars season, let's leave the heels at home. Let's just leave them at home, or at least have, if there's any condensation, any moisture in the air, we're going to leave the heels. We're going to leave the heels off. Let's wear the flats to the club, to the bar, anytime we're going up and down the stairs, because we can't keep losing Veronica because of little slips and ankle rolls here and there. I know we don't end up losing her because of that, but we do lose her in the same episode. So it feels like twice now Veronica has been taken from us because of a slip. Is there any deal to be made here? The rest of this, goes as the plan is according to go. Melissa and Nicole want to go in. Everyone wants the two non-star holding teams to go versus each other. That's all well and good. My question, as I watched all this go down, we get very minor attempts, not even really attempts, but just, Nany starting to make it known. Like, you guys do realize Steve and Adam are the best team here, right? They've been kicking everyone's ass in dailies and eliminations all season long, and we've not won anything. We've won an elimination. That's it. And everyone is just super duper scared because I guess Turbo's really good or something. Like, I wish Nany would go the full way. Like, the one thing I think she could do better is be like, you guys remember that I'm the one who's done this 15 times and not won, right? I've had good partners before. I've been on good teams. I've had good individual situations in finals. I haven't won, and you guys are all pressed about me. Adam has won before. Steve hasn't won, but he basically did last season. He basically did win. He should have won last season. He made a mental error right at the end and lost last season. Otherwise, he would also be a champion. They've won 4 eliminations. They've won 3 daily challenges. What are we doing here? I wish you would go a little bit more. I think we're about to get that next week. But I did wonder, is there any deal? And I know at the end of this, it's going to be that this deal wouldn't matter. They wouldn't follow through on it. But hear me out anyways, because it's still good to make people go back on things they said in the house, even if just to make them look like someone who goes back on things in the house for a future season, or just to make them look bad on the TV or what have you. Could Devon say, I get what you guys are doing. You put in Mel and Nicole. You want us to put in Veronica and Katie, and then you guys are going to steal Nany and Turbo's star. I would prefer Nany and Turbo are my best friends in the house. Veronica and Katie are Shane's best friends in the house. So I get it. We're in a tough spot. What if I said to you, Veronica and Katie and Melissa and Nicole, I will go with Shane. I will vote in Katie and Veronica. I will let you guys play for a star, but you have to promise to steal Adam and Steve's. I know they're your friends. I know they're your allies, but they're the best team here. And I don't want to allow you in there to get that star if it means my team, the only team that I care about here, has their star stolen. So I will stalemate with Shane unless you agree that you are going to steal the winner. Either one of you, whoever wins, is going to steal Adam and Steve's star. I wonder if she could have proposed that and at least got Veronica, Katie, Melissa, and Nicole to say, to kind of call the bluff, to either call the bluff and be like, you won't do it, or to say, okay, fine. Now, again, as I started this whole thing through, I don't think they would follow through. I think there's a world where she could say that and the 4 women would be like, okay, that's fair. We'll screw over our friends, when in reality, the whole time they're like, we'll tell you whatever we need to tell you, Devon. Just let us into that elimination. And they would have went back on it, but they at least would have to go back on it, and she'd at least be able to be like, yo, roll the tape, show the conversation. They said they would do this, and they did not. They shouldn't be trusted. And just, is that even worth her time and effort to put in to make these people go back on a word they were never going to hold up? I don't know. Maybe this was a whole waste of time even explaining this idea that I had, but I felt like there was a world where they could have she could have pushed for that. I don't think, ultimately it would have got her anywhere, got what she wanted, which would have been Nany and Turbo's star, not stolen. Then at that elimination, speaking of Devon, one more time here, she did get me, and the editing got me. It's rare. I try to call it out and say every time I get got by the commercial break that, just classic challenge. They always try to have every commercial break has to be a teaser. Every commercial break has to be a cliffhanger, no matter how small, minuscule, or obviously fake and misleading a cliffhanger it is. It's a staple of the show. But once in a while, I fall for it. Once in a while, I fall for it because I want it to be real so bad. And I fell for this one, hook, line, and sinker. I legitimately believed when Davon was like, hold up, what happens if I disagree? And they go to commercial. I was like, this is going to be freaking great. Hell yeah, Davon. And then I was so bummed when it came back. And it was just like, and it wasn't even like a, let's make them sweat. It was like 2 seconds later, just kidding, psych, whatever. So I got. I don't know if any of you did too, but I always like to admit when, again, most of them don't because they're pretty obvious, but once in a while they get me, and it usually is because I'm dying for it to be real, so much so that I'm willing to give in and allow it to maybe possibly be real, even though I know it's not, and it never is. A great elimination game is then played. Really great design. Loved it. I just think the games team, whatever the team is called within the production that actually creates the dailies and the eliminations, has really, really nailed it all season long. In this episode, definitely daily. We talked about elimination. Same thing. Really, really good game. I think they both did really well. This is one of those hard things with eliminations is sometimes when it's close, you don't know, like, did they actually do really well or did they maybe do okay, or did they maybe even do bad, but we don't know because this is the only time we're ever going to see anyone do this, and the two teams that did it took around the same amount of time. So maybe there's a world where this was done way faster, but it seemed like it seemed like they both did really well, and it wasn't just that it was really close, it was that both teams communicated really well, moved and maneuvered really well, and put up a really good performance. And Melissa and Nicole pulled it out in the end. A little bit more chaotic, I will say. I definitely, when they were doing the back and forth and making, both teams were right there at the very end, it very much seemed like Katie and Veronica were just like, we were just waiting for it to drop, as it was like pressed down. They weren't moving it up and down. They weren't slapping it all around. Melissa and Nicole's was much more chaotic and then just boom, hit it out of nowhere. So I was a little bit surprised again there. And overall, just surprised at how well Melissa and Nicole did this, because all season I've been saying there's no ability to communicate. And I'm not sure what would even be something within a final that, like, what even segment of a final they would be really good at, where they would like at least be able to get like, we won that segment, so that at least boosts our points or boosts our time or something. And they definitely proved me wrong here. We will get to the power rankings later and whether I've finally elevated them above the 0% chance to win. But I feel like, spoiler alert, I'm going to have to at least give them some small chance, because this proved a lot. This was a game purely off of communicating with each other and, maneuvering together in this very weird thing that you would have never done before. And there's plenty of things like that might show up in a final. And so this was a really good sign for this team coming from the back at the very end to maybe have a very, very small outside shot. As for Katie and Veronica, I think they made it exactly as far as we would want them to make it. I don't know how big a factor they would be in a final. It depends on what kind of final it is and what all is involved in there. And the more of them on my screens, the better, certainly. But given how much they bring value-wise to the show side of things, and that they can sometimes lack the value in the pure sports side of things, AKA the last episode, the final, where it's just here's the competition, here's who wins, and there's nothing at the house, and there's no scheming and plotting, and there's nothing super interesting and exciting going on. Katie and Veronica, making sure we get them all the way right up until what should have been, I feel like, the penultimate episode, and we should be going to a final more or less here, is exactly the like, we need them to at least get this far, and this is exactly the perfect point for them to bow out. They were great this season. They provided in a ton of ways. Fantastic to have them there. We also maybe for the first time saw the did we get to do the goodbyes at the house, or were they the first ones who were like, get back there and get your bags and leave, and then the other people can come back from the backyard into the house? Don't know how that went down, but they are gone. Mel and Nicole are still there. as are Turbo and Nany, because we've got another daily and therefore I assume another elimination to come. Now for our awards, pretty cut and dry stuff here this week. Best quote goes to Frank. Quote, yeah, it looks great. Beautiful, just like your other one. Feetfinder.com, $30. End quote. Great stuff. In the field quotes always are going to play really well for this award. And that's literally the only one I wrote down all episode. I'm sure I missed a bunch of good ones. As always, comment them below, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere. Let me know what I missed. But yeah, I wrote that one down and didn't write any others down. So it's the winner. Best moment, Nany to pick from here. Mostly just Shane and Devon, like throughout the entire episode. Shane and Devon, you want me to lie? That conversation of, will you go talk to Veronica? That whole conversation in the opening of the episode. Second one, Devon, Frank, and Adam after the daily and that confrontation and rope in the joint confessional to end it with Devon and Shane. Third one, Shane taking over Veronica's ankle monitoring and the friction it caused, and just that whole scene was just pure comedy, laughing a lot throughout that. Fourth, Devon's fake out commercial break. Again, it got me, and I was real excited for that commercial break. And so, yeah, got me. And then fifth and finally, we didn't talk on it, but Turbo's pep talk at the end of the episode. They go back to the house. Nany is just had it. She definitely seemed like it wasn't just how pissed off she was at the whole situation, but she really seemed like she was more convinced than anyone that TJ was about to say. And now we have our 4 finalists and the only team without a star. I'm sorry, you're going home, and was ready to go home. And it just, since they had basically like a day or two even to go through, we know exactly what's going down. We know who's in the elim, and we know they're stealing our star, and just having convinced herself, and now the season's over for us and we're going home. And then it doesn't happen. Just the floodgates have opened, and everything that she tried to kind of keep in a little bit, whatever was left, is about to come out. And it starts to come out, and Turbo having to be the one to give her the pep talk and be like, I get it. And actually very astute from Turbo as well. Kind of caught me by surprise that, in Turbo's own way, breaking down the like, hey, like, this isn't just this moment. This is all of the scars you've taken over the years in the challenge, all rolled up into the frustration of this season. And now another chance. But you've got me. You've got a great partner. We've got a shot. It's going to be okay. Let's get through this. Like, I was like, wow, that's actually, in Turbo's own way, he did say what, a good thing to say, or an attempt at a good thing to say there. And I'm really looking forward to if Nany next episode just walks around that house like, Turbo, anyone you want to piss off, anyone you want to yell at, go ahead. I will join you. It'll be a great old time, because as we're going to talk about in just a minute, I don't think the house has a choice but to give them a shot to get that star back. We'll talk on that in just 1 second. The MVP, though, first and foremost, it could have been Nany, but it's not. She comes in second. She gets a lot of votes. Veronica, Frank, and Shane make the ballot, certainly, but this episode's MVP has got to go to Devon. She delivered all the way through. Her and Shane were central all the way through. Good confessionals. Apologies if I didn't write any of her quotes down that were maybe deserving of that quote of the week. All the moments really belong to her. Great, great stuff. Devon, episode MVP. And then there's 5, and they must still be power ranked. And nothing's changing, except Katie and Veronica are out. So technically, Devon and Shane and Melissa and Nicole move up 1 spot. Steve and Adam remain in first. Nany and Turbo, which may be a surprise, remain in second. We're going to talk through it. Frank and Sam third. Devon, Shane fourth. Melissa and Nicole fifth. And there's still a big gap to me. Steve and Adam, Nany and Turbo. One of those 2 teams is making it to the final, maybe even both, but one of them for sure is. There's no way that both of them can miss out on the final now. There's 5 teams left, and we're taking 4 to a final. And that means whichever of those 2, if only one of them makes it, that's your winner. That's your winner. If they don't, it's a big, big upset. It could happen. It's possible. Those other 3 teams got a shot, but with only one of those teams especially makes it, just book it. Take my bet, take my money. That's who we're putting the money down on. And the reason I still have Nany and Turbo in that second spot and feel good that this is a 50-50 proposition is because I think there's a very, very, very good chance that next week's elimination is those two teams versus each other for a spot to go to the final as the heavy favorites. I am now, after getting 1 out of 3 right last week, I had Shane and Devon getting the star, but I also thought they would get the full on. They wouldn't get the daily challenge win, and so therefore I had that and everything else after that wrong. I'm now 13.5 out of 23 on the season, still over 500, but I don't feel that great about it because some of these seemed pretty predictable. But for this next week, let's talk this out for a second here because, Nany and Turbo are down in the dumps at the end of the episode. How are we going to get this back? You would assume the rest of the house, they worked so hard to get it away from this team they consider the best team. They wouldn't just want them to have an opportunity to get it back, but they kind of are going to have to, right? Let's play this out. Are they going to be willing to put, if there's a daily challenge next episode, and so that means there's going to be an elimination, right? And so what are they going to do? They're going to put 2 star holders against each other, hoping that maybe TJ will say, well, Nany and Turbo, we're only taking 3 to the final. Someone goes home, there's a star up for grabs, but there's no more daily challenges to earn it, so we're only taking 3. I guess they could do that. That is possible. But I don't think they're going to, and I don't think the cast is going to. I think they're going to all think that through and assume, no, I think they're taking 4. One way or the other, they're taking 4. If we hold Nany and Turbo out of this elimination, all it's going to do is send one of us home or put 2 of us at risk instead of only one of us. And I think then that star is just going to be there and be awarded to the team that doesn't have one. And they're going to walk into the final, not even have to earn it by beating one of us in an elimination. I think that's going to be the calculus. So I think that Turbo and Nany are going to be in the elimination next week, whether they win the daily and throw themselves in, or whether the whole house just is like, okay, fine, we got to put them in, or the winners of the daily are like, we got to put them in, or one way or the other. I think they're all going to realize, I guess someone has to beat them one last time. That's what has to go on here. And then those other 3 teams, not named Nany and Turbo or Steve and Adam, would be idiotic not to put Steve and Adam in if they had the chance, unless Steve and Adam win safety, which I do think they're going to do, because we see a glimpse of the daily challenge. It is in the field/woods that the very, very memorable Bob and motherfucking Weave took place with Tina and CT on Battle of the Eras, and is pressing these pieces together, these wooden pieces together between you and carrying it through the course. So it's physical, it takes communication, and I think Steve and Adam are going to just dominate and get that win and be into the final on their own. And if that is the case, if I'm right about that, Steve and Adam win, they're in, they're safe. The other 4 teams have to vote. I think Devon and Shane and Nany and Turbo are going to stick together. Devon is going to be like, now we get to go with my friends and save our ass again. You're welcome, Shane. And they're going to have 2 and be like, we're either Sam and Frank, Mel and Nicole, you can vote against us. It's going to be 2-2. Or Mel and Nicole, we can vote in Frank and Sam. Do you want to come join us and vote them in, or do you want to go stalemate 2-2 and see what the hell happens? Mel and Nicole jump over. Frank and Sam are now voted in. Adam and Steve say, this is probably the second and third best team, so Nany and Turbo have at it. If we see you in the final, we see you in the final, but one of you knock each other out. So that is my predictions. Adam and Steve win the daily. Frank and Sam are voted in by the house. Nany and Turbo are sent in. And I think Nany and Turbo get their star back and knock out the presumptive season MVP in one Frank and his good partner, Sammy Joe. That's what I'm predicting. And I honestly, I want Frank to be there until the very last confessional in the very last second of the season. I want him on the screen. But if we did get a little showdown, Frank versus Shane, which one of us is going to be the one that has to go in here versus Nany and Turbo next week? That's a fun, either way it goes, just the drama of that is a good time and is fun. And I really do want to see Nany and Turbo versus Adam and Steve, because I do think that is our last chance at a competitive either of those teams performing really, really well and winning a final that we've got. So I'm kind of hoping for that as much, though, as I would like to see Frank there until the last single frame of the season. But that is episode 9. Again, next week, very likely the recap will be out on Thursday late morning as I record early that morning versus super duper late on Wednesday night. That is likely the case for the rest of the season, though I might surprise you. I might be able to get it out Wednesday night. So we shall see. As always, YouTube, subscribe, leave comments below if you got questions, if you want to talk, if you got your own opinions about this show, this episode. DMs are open at Challenge Historian on Instagram if you just want to chat the challenge. Otherwise, thank you for being here. Love you. Appreciate you. Talk to you next week. Peace.